Thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name's James. I'm the founder of Sanctus. I've met a few of you before, so just so you all know, I think we've got a few people who are here that have been journaling with us, that have been joining our morning journaling sessions or journaling with us online, and a few people that I've not met before. So great to meet you, great to have you here, and a few people that, by the sounds of it, sort of curious to learn a little bit more about journaling, and perhaps sort of use this as a bit of a kick-off and a tee-off to get into a consistent practice. For those of you that don't know Sanctus, our mission is to inspire us all to work on our mental health like our physical health. So we've got this big vision to put the world's first mental health gym on the high street one day. And to be honest, during lockdown, especially this third lockdown, we've kind of launched the mental health gym online. It's happened. We're running regular journaling classes. We've got a timetable of sessions that are on regularly. So we've had this vision for 5 years now, which is when I started the business. And in response to the latest lockdown, it's really starting to come to life. And the community that we're bringing together is really the sort of manifestation of that. So I suppose even before we get in, just to say thanks for being part of that. I think this is like if this was in real life, I hope we'd have all walked into a mental health gym on the high street, and we'd all be there for a sort of induction session. So that's how I'm seeing that. We're just doing that in the virtual world. Purpose of today really is introduce Sanctus a little bit, introduce journaling as a practice, and we'll do that through a bit of sort of storytelling. I'll share my story of journaling, how it's impacted me, and then we'll talk specifically about the Sanctus journaling sessions. And then my sense is what a lot of people are looking for is to just hear from others as well, have an open space for people to share any of their trepidations or their experiences with journaling so far, and to open up the floor to a few questions that I can, of course, try my best to respond to, but there might even be other people in the group that feel like they want to share their experiences. So that's how we're going to play it. Just to shout out, we are recording the event. The intention there is to share with people that can't make it. If you don't want to be recorded, then please turn your camera off. And also, when we do share it, we'll make sure that names aren't seen. So we'll keep it pretty, we'll keep it sort of confidential in a sense in that point. In terms of the next hour, just ask for your presence, really. If you can sort of close down social media, emails, and give us your attention, that would be brilliant. I know it's a bit more difficult. So I'll sort of. We've got a question here. Sorry. Hey Michelle, I was just about to say that. Also, we haven't got any captioning as such. I'm going to share after this event a blog post sort of transcribing what we talk about. So there's no captioning for now. I am going to follow up with something written so people can sort of read through and understand what we've discussed and what we've covered tonight. On that note, be good to just get a few sort of thumbs up if that's good from everyone. If anyone's got any early questions or anything like that, that's nice to see. I've got a virtual thumbs up and some real thumbs up. We'll kick off, and I'd love to share with you, my story really about journaling, how it's impacted me, and then a little bit about Sanctus, and then we can open up the floor. The best place to start is that about 5 years ago, I'd never heard of journaling. I actually had an experience when I was about 18. I picked up a notepad one night when I was really bored in my gap year before uni, and I just started writing down what was going on. There wasn't much of interest going on. I was working at KFC at the time, and my life wasn't that exciting. But I was quite bored, and I was ready to get out and leave my parents' home and go on to a new journey in my life. And I picked up a small notepad and I started writing down what was going on. I think I only did it once or twice, and then never ever did it again. And about 5 years ago, when I was really struggling with my mental health, again, no one told me to journal. I didn't read an article that said journaling is great. I didn't go to a seminar. I didn't see a influencer use journaling or talk about it. I just reached under my bed and picked up a notepad and started writing. The context to that time was that I was struggling with my mental health knowingly for the first time, really. I was feeling quite anxious. I was having panic attacks. I was stressed. My sort of self-talk was quite negative. And I'd just come out of a period where I'd shut down a business that I'd started, and I really wasn't feeling very good about myself, to be honest. I was feeling pretty alone. I was feeling pretty upset, and again, this anxiety was like really showing up quite physically. Really, I was like sweaty palms, knot in my stomach, and then these panic attacks, which were very, very visceral. And my experience before that was one of just not really understanding my emotions, or not feeling like I could talk about them, or not even knowing how. There was no mental health classes at school, and there wasn't much dinner table conversation around mental health for me growing up. So it's just quite sort of emotionally inept, really. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, like I'm being a bit hard on myself, but it's just true. I just had no real idea of how to talk about how I was feeling. It was completely foreign to me. So I was pretty numb to a lot of my emotions, really. Kind of out of choice. I thought that was the way you did it. I thought that's how you keep calm and carry on, persevere, and everything will sort of be all right. In the end, that was kind of like my approach, really. So the idea of opening up, even in a private space, just to myself, was completely foreign. Never mind the thought of actually telling someone either close to me or someone else in my life how I was feeling. It was a complete, it just wasn't even an option. It was completely alien. So I just didn't do it. I spent my early 20s just, pretty closed off, really, to how I was feeling, and pretty just naive and ignorant towards my mental health, really, and my wider well-being as well, to be honest. I worked out and went to the gym and all that sort of stuff, but I wouldn't say I did it for how I was feeling. I probably did it for my vanity or for looking a certain way. So really wasn't equipped or had any understanding of just how I felt. So when I did face difficult emotions or difficult experiences, like when I was running my first business and I was young and scared and worried about it and stressed about money or a new job or a new experience, I just kind of quashed them down. Just left them. I just let them go dormant, or just said to myself, like, this is how it is. You got to just keep going. So I definitely didn't have any outlet for how I was feeling, or there was no format for me to express what I was feeling, both because I felt like that was a sign of weakness, probably, but I also just didn't know how to. So it's a bit of a double whammy. It both felt like, I can't do this because I'll be seen as weak in some way, but also I've just got absolutely no idea even where to start. I had this image that if I started opening up and talking, it would just tumble down into this terrible hole, and I wouldn't be able to come back from it. I was quite scared of going there, where whatever that even meant, and whatever there even meant. And that brought me to this time in my life that I just mentioned, where I was suffering for the first time, really, that I knew something was wrong. Like I knew that having panic attacks and needing to go to the toilet before a meeting to like calm myself down and focus on my breathing, I knew that wasn't right. Like I was like, something's not right here. And rationally in my head, I knew that there was clearly something going on. I didn't know if that was mental health. I didn't really, when I was feeling anxious, I thought it was something to do with my heart, or I had absolutely no idea. So turning to a journal was quite fortuitous, really. Actually, a friend bought me one. I don't think he's on here, but George, who is me and him are co-founders of Sanctus, he actually bought me a journal or a notepad and just said, just use this, and not even use this thing. He just got it as a nice gift, and one night I just turned to it out of nowhere, really, just started writing down how I was feeling. Initially, it started out as a way of kind of diarising, to be honest. I wanted to remember the period I was in. It felt quite memorable. I just moved back down to London. I was living in this old abandoned house. It's another story. And I thought I need to just remember this. It's really I'll look back on this. So I just started writing down what was going on, and I probably did it initially. This is my first foray into what is journaling, but at the time I just saw it as writing down what was going on. Was quite content heavy. It was like, this happened today, I did this, and then eventually it sort of led into, I feel anxious, I feel stressed, I had a panic attack today, I'm really gutted about what's been going on at work, or I'm gutted about what's been going on with my business. It just naturally became a space of confidence for me, really, like a sort of confidence. Like I felt like I could write anything in there, no one would see it, and it became a space to practice, really. And probably those early journal entries, which I've still got, I read back over them sometimes, was like practice. It was like the first time I'd ever really spoken about how I was feeling to myself. I'd never written like I feel sad before. I'd never written I'm stressed. It just weren't words that I was used to saying out loud. So I was getting to write them down and feel the relief of that, and then also just see them plainly on the page in front of me was also a real relief. They felt a bit more manageable, a bit more real, and I just accepted them a bit more rather than fighting them, because I think for me, I was judging myself for even feeling the way I was feeling. Like I was resisting feeling stressed. I was like, oh, you shouldn't feel stressed. I should be really happy, which was like, again, a bit of a double whammy, really. So just writing down, I feel stressed, I feel anxious, just a real relief to just see it down on paper and accept it. And over time, it wasn't all doom and gloom. Like there was stuff that I was excited about, stuff that was going well, stuff that I was proud of, that I was also giving myself chance to reflect on and celebrate. And over a longer period of time, I started to build up both the confidence and also the words to talk more about how I was feeling. It led me to feel able to start to open up to people around me where I felt comfortable. I knew. Sorry, I'm just admitting someone. I knew what the words were. I felt like I could say, I'm stressed, or I felt like I could say I'm feeling anxious, because I'd said it to myself. I'd written it down in my journal, so I felt a bit more comfortable. So over time, I felt able to articulate the words and the thoughts and emotions that were going on for me, and speak to the right people. And in the end, that bridged me into getting loads more support for my mental health. Which I've tried over the years. It bridged me into coaching, therapy, group stuff, meditation, all sorts of different weird and wonderful things that I then went on to try. It was journaling that was the kind of easy to use bridge point for me, because I found it so accessible, essentially, so easy to buy a 50p notepad and a pen, or a 25 quid Moleskine one to sit down and write what was going on, or even write on the notes on my phone or on my computer. And even though that was my initial sort of opening up process around mental health, even since then, for the last 5 years, as I've gone on a real sort of growth journey, I suppose you'd call it, in mental health, I've continued to use journaling as a practice that's been like quite an anchor for me throughout, really. And I very much see journaling as an awareness raising practice, as a reflective practice. It's kind of see it like an active form of mindfulness and meditation, where I'm just constantly becoming aware of what's present, what's going on. There's no judgment to what is written. There's no right or wrong. There's no no defined outcome of a certain journal entry. It's just writing down what's there. That can be starting with, I don't feel like I've got much to say today, or my head feels really full, or I feel silly doing this. It can just be literally anything. And that's what I love about it. And that's what I've seen to be so valuable. And I've also felt the benefit in the way that journaling has led me to then connect differently to myself and to the world around me and to the people around me. And it's led to great change in the relationships I've created and forged, and the change just personally in my life as well, through seeking out different forms of support and different forms of personal growth, I suppose. Now that bridges me into Sanctus, in that Sanctus was born really out of me journaling. If I had not reached for that journal entry, I'd not started writing down how I was feeling, I certainly wouldn't have started a mental health business. So it was through journaling that I then felt able to write a blog post about my story. I shared that publicly, and then through there, I just started talking more about my mental health. So one of the benefits for journaling for me was finding a real passion and real purpose in my work afterwards, which was a very unexpected benefit, because I certainly didn't expect to be starting another business after the difficulty of shutting down my first one. It was through journaling that change happened, to be honest. And then now, Sanctus, we've been on this mission to change people's perception of mental health. And for the last 5 years, we've partnered with businesses and been in the workplace helping people transform their culture around mental health. And it's in the last sort of 3 to 6 months where we've wanted to bring journaling as a product to more people and make it much more accessible to people, which we started initially with an online journal and an online community, which we've got, that some of you might be familiar with. So that's a way of journaling online. Basically, you log into Sanctus community, create a profile, and there's a new prompt every day, or a series of prompts that you can choose from, and you can share your journal entry. You can keep it completely private, or actually we have the option to share that with others in the community. So that's one option. That's one thing that we've done in the last couple of months. I've been doing that for about 6 months now, actually. And then in the last 2 months, we've introduced the daily group journaling sessions. So that's where, they're like the mental health gym. There are gym classes every week. Every morning from 8:30 till 9, we have a Zoom space open, much like this, where people come together to journal together for up to 30 minutes. So people sit together in a quiet, still, calm space and spend that time journaling, writing down, reflecting. There's no one has to share their entry to the screen or show people what they've been writing. It's just a way of coming together and taking part in that practice together. And they've been really popular, to be honest. And I've been amazed by the sense of community that's been built just doing that, and how simple but wonderful it is to come together and do something in a group, even though it is a private kind of solitary practice. And our intention is to do more of that. We have one of those sessions every morning, 8:30 till 9. We have an intention setting class 6 till 6:30 on Monday, and we have a celebration class on Friday, 4:30 till 5. In each session, there's usually a different prompt, which sort of guides the session. If you want a bit of a guide, or you can just write free flow. For example, I think the prompt we used today was, when are you at your best? Kind of like an expansive question that just gives you a guide of what to spend the time on. And each day we've got a new prompt, but also we're completely agnostic to how you want to spend that time. If you've got a certain journal that you've just bought that's got a specific structure that you want to stick to, then especially in the mornings in the Zoom sessions, you're completely welcome to come along and do that. Basically, it's a space for us to come together in community and do something that's good for you and good for your mental health. So they're the two things that are the two ways you can journal with Sanctus currently, and obviously my experience of journaling and why I love it so much. To be honest, I think it's so accessible, and I'm really excited about the impact it can have and how I can get people started in a really easy way. And then we've got these 2 ways of journaling with Sanctus, both online at any time and in their Zoom sessions, which are currently more than every day, and there'll be more to come. I'm also aware I've just been talking for a long time now, so both need a sip of water, and also I'm excited to hear from a couple of other people. What I wanted to do was to kind of just open up the floor really to both questions about either my story or Sanctus's story, or journaling as a practice specifically, or at the same time, I think what would be really impactful, I imagine, for others that haven't got into that as a practice yet, is if there's anyone that's been journaling with Sanctus or journaling in general that's got an experience of journaling that they'd like to share. So I'm not going to point anyone out and put anyone on the spot, but just invite people to raise their hand, I suppose, either using the reaction on Zoom or just jumping in. I've just had a message from Redeemer. I know you just messaged me directly, Redeemer, but I might put you on the spot because you've messaged me, and just ask if you wouldn't mind sharing your. I see a raised hand from you as well, Mike. Sharing your experience so far of journaling. I can see you've unmuted yourself, so I'll take that as a yes. Hello.
Hey. I just thought I'll just share with everyone. So, I started journaling with Sanctus 3 weeks ago now. I think when they started, I used to that journaling is a good way to to figure out what is actually going on. And I kind of, when I started practicing it, I have realized that it's how helpful it is. I was I have my own history of mental illnesses, and I used to learn about journaling a lot in my therapy sessions. And the prompts, the questions like how you're feeling, and just naming your emotion instead of just saying things like, oh, I feel blah, or I just feel meh. It is good to just put a word or put a emotion to what you're actually going through, and then just digging deep and trying to understand why you're feeling that way. And sometimes the prompts as well, they really help you to just to kind of think about something which you have not come to your forefront at all. Like, I think the other day the prompt was what you have been ignoring, and I just realized that I've been ignoring to pray and to connect to my spiritual side. And I took those 30 minutes just to write a prayer. And the good thing is that you see so many different people who you've never met in life, and you just look at them smiling. And sometimes they read your entries, your journal entries on the community page, and they just come back and they just say that how it helped them. And I do the same. I go and read journal entries, and sometimes you just hope and pray for other people that they feel better, or you just read something that brings a smile to your face. And I think there's just one thing I really wanted to an experience I wanted to share. Was it last Friday, James, when we had the celebratory journal session? Yeah, I last 5 minutes. It was supposed to last 30 minutes. I think no one wanted that session to end. All of us, we don't know. We have never met each other. I don't know if James has, but we were all just looking at each other and just smiling. And like right now, I see a couple of faces just looking at me and smiling, and that's just bringing a smile on my face. That is the power of I think positive power of social media. And that's how I think we all are, isn't it? That we just want that smile, we just want that warmth, and that just comes through the screen right now. And maybe if journaling is just not for you, if you want to just join and see people smiling, being happy, and just being just lost in their thoughts, and how you can just connect to a stranger and just bring some happiness, like just do that. Like every morning 8:30, sometimes I just do that. Sometimes words just don't come, and I just look at people and I like, okay, looks like everyone is okay. And someone's dog comes up or cat comes up, and you just giggle, and and then you just leave in 5 minutes, or sometimes you just stay there for 30 minutes. Yeah, so it's a good way to connect to yourself, and also just cheer yourself up sometimes. Thank you. You are on mute, James. That's the line of the year.
Oh no, it's happened. It's actually happened. I can't believe it. It's a year into lockdown. What's going on? Oh my goodness. That shows I'm human. See. Thanks for that. I was just giving you a compliment, Redeemer. I was just saying thank you for sharing and being brave to share. Mike, Steve, I'm gonna come to you in a second. I just want to say, look, I'm conscious that we've got a few people that have already been journaling with us, might feel a little bit more able to jump in and ask a question. If you want to just ask a question on the chat, by the way, if you don't fancy putting your camera on for any reason, or you want to just be chilling out and you want to pop a question in the chat, especially if you've not journaled before, I think it'd be great to hear from people that are on the precipice of the practice or are curious. So yeah, either raise your hands. I'm assuming that is a feature because 2 people are doing it, or pop your message in the chat. Mike, just come to you, as I know you've been journaling with us.
Yeah, thanks, James. I guess I was going to talk just generally about my journaling experience, because I started journaling with Sanctus last week, and I just found it really, really useful. But I had my own mental health challenges at the end of 2019, and when I went to therapy, she said, you really need to keep a journal. I was like, oh, I don't want to keep a journal. It's such a pain in the ass and all that sort of stuff. But I actually got an app. Dailyo was the app I used on my phone, and that was quite good because it was quite structured. But what it did was it helped me identify what was wrong. And I don't think if I'd actually had that journal, frankly, I don't think I would be here. And it's having that for me, it was about the data, the thing that jumped out of the page and helped me understand, what was the sort of root cause of my anxiety. And it was great to kind of capture it in there and sort of how am I feeling and just sort of track the sort of cause and effects. And it became very clear that things were affecting me. So I think that, to me, that was such a powerful tool, right, for my recovery and getting to where I am. And then I sort of lost it a little bit because I've been feeling better and happier, etc. So I just stopped doing it. I was like, it's fine. I'm kind of not cured because I've still got quite a way to go, but I didn't think I needed it anymore. But then I had this link to, this Instagram clickbait thing for mindjournals.com journal, and it was before you started doing the journaling, and I thought, this is great because it's the the same sort of thing where it gives you a structured how do you feel and you can tick boxes, etc. And what's happened now is that every day I've been doing this with you guys, right, is I felt stronger, I felt happier, I felt sort of ready to go to the day and get going into a tough day. And actually I started a new job last week as well, so I kind of like had a new job and journaling at the same time, and it's really, really helped. Such a powerful tool. And now I'm kind of encouraging everyone to journal as much as they can, and it's a great way to sort of be honest with yourself about how you're feeling, about why you're feeling that way, and then start to sort of track the trends and start to think about, well, I was really like moody on a Monday, why was that? And that's probably, it's not just Blue Monday, there's something else going on. And very, very powerful stuff. And I think what you and Team Sanctus are doing are great. So thank you. You're on mute again. You've done it again.
Right, let's move on quickly from that. I need my journaling session, so I want to reflect on this. Anyway, I'll move on for that. Steve, we'll come to you in a second. I just want to talk to a couple of quite practical questions we've had in the chat. So thanks for asking those. I'll go for you, Kieran. Is it important to do every day? That's a great question. I think that's probably one that loads of people are asking themselves, because it's like, do I have to commit to this every single day? Do I definitely have to? For me, no. I think what's brilliant about it is like, well, look, I think in my experience, building in anything that's a daily habit usually is a good thing, right? Like, I go for a walk every day. That's really helpful. However, I think to be really like rigid sometimes and say I have to do this every day is just another chore. It's like another thing to do. What I love about journaling is that I find that I find that anytime I do it, I find a real benefit initially. I think doing it every day, I think the truth is, can also be quite intense. It's like a lot can start to come out, come up. You can write a lot. We certainly, I think, for Sanctus, we don't preach that you have to journal every day, or there's any right or wrong way to do it. I think journaling is a practice that you can keep with you whenever, wherever. I know for me, I go through real periods, to be honest. Like, obviously at the moment I'm journaling every day, not just because I'm hosting these sessions, but because I'm working from home. I'm not talking to many people, I'm not connecting. So I'm finding that by journaling every day is actually giving me quite a good outlet to talk, literally. So I am doing it every day. Like I mentioned when I was sharing my story, when I first started sort of journaling, it was a once a week. I had a bit of a Sunday night ritual actually, where just every Sunday night I'd just spend a bit of time writing down. I think what definitely seems to be beneficial though is creating a ritual as opposed to a habit. I think creating a bit of a ritual of, whether it's I have a cup of coffee in the morning and I write in my journal, or I write in my journal before bed every night, or whatever that ritual is, or I do some yoga, then I journal, or I go for a run, then whatever it is, I'm making stuff up now. I think having a ritual around it definitely seems to be a real positive for a practice, but certainly wouldn't prescribe daily journaling unless it's just different for everyone. If you feel like you want to jump in and you're the kind of person that's like, right, I'm going to commit to doing this every day, then that's probably for you. But no, I think as and when, that's what's the power of it really. And then also just want to touch on, sorry if I say your name wrong, Halima. Any tips for beginners? I don't know where to start and keep putting it off. I would love to hear some tips. I mean, that's another, I'm sure there are loads of people that can relate to feeling like they don't know where to start. It's a really common thing that we hear when we talk about Sanctus in the workplace. Actually, we've got a coaching product where people can go and talk to a Sanctus coach, and what we hear a lot is, I don't know what to say, I've got nothing to say, or I don't know where to start. I think one of the most powerful suggestions that we've started offering in our morning practices is, if you don't know where to start, just write down, I don't know where to start, and you'd be very surprised how quickly other words start coming. And really, I think the hardest part is getting started. It's that first sentence. It's that first line. And I think once you give yourself permission to do that, it can start flowing. One thing we hear a lot, or I hear a lot from people that are journaling with us in the morning, is, I can't believe how much I've written, or I could have written 10 pages, I could have written 20 pages. People seem to be quite surprised actually when they do kind of put pen to paper or fingers to keypads, that it just flows and it just keeps coming out. So I think Redeemer's answer, she said, just start. Come to you, Steve, because I know you were a complete never journaled before. Is that right? So it'd be great if you could share your experience with people if you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was absolutely a starter with you on the first Monday, and didn't know what to do at all. So I did exactly what you prompted to do. I just wrote, I have no idea where to start, and literally didn't put the pen down for the 30 minutes that followed. I don't think I'd written that much with my hand on a piece of paper for years and years and years. And ever since, I've been on every day. I've actually missed it when I haven't done it at the weekend. So when you've talked about rituals, you've introduced one for me that's going to kind of be quite full on, because I think if I don't do it at the weekend, by the time I get to Monday, it feels like it's all kind of welled up in me again to come out. And sometimes I found that I was running out of time before I was running out of words. Other times I was running out of words before the time finished, and like everyone else, I'm in a situation. I'm here. I've got 2 kids homeschooling with me full time, by myself, and it just gives me that stillness. I think you said that early days, that word stillness, and that kind of community and safety and quietness. The kids now protect it for me. If someone comes to the door, they say, no, I can't interrupt daddy for this 30 minutes. He won't, that's for him, which is amazing, right? And they joined the celebration thing last Friday, and they wrote their own thoughts down. And my daughter, 11 years old, said, oh, it felt like I was talking to a friend by writing her words down. Makes me a bit emotional. So yeah, I've loved it, and I'm going to keep loving it. I'm really enjoying it, and I thank you for doing it.
Oh, thanks for sharing that, mate. That's amazing to hear. There's been a family benefit as well. I'm absolutely buzzing to hear that. Yeah, that's really cool to hear. I don't think we can include sort of kids as bodyguards for everyone, but that sounds like you've got your own bespoke service there.
Absolutely.
Right. Steve, I wouldn't mind if you're up for it. I just wanted to. There's a question from Karen about being a little bit scared. It's like, will it open up the floodgates? I'm just curious if I could put you on the spot with that one and just ask if that was your experience as well.
Oh, definitely the scared piece. Yeah, I felt that immensely. I've got stuff going on in my life right now that, a bit like you said, I'd kept in a box. And what they say, if you try and dampen down something, you dampen it all down, and not just the something that you're trying to quieten down. And I was worried that if I started writing, first of all, could I protect it? Was it safe? Was it just mine? Was anybody else going to walk in that room and pick that up and read it? So I had to make sure that it was safe. And as soon as I felt that and started writing, then just the right stuff came out. I didn't feel like I had to do anything in an order or write anything specific. It's just words. I can't barely read it if I try to go back. It's literally scribble. But some of it makes me emotional, some of it doesn't, some of it makes me happy, some of it makes me grateful. Different things bubble up at different points. But I think what needs to come out does come out. It hasn't made me feel like I needed to do it for 3 hours, like to pour it out for until I couldn't stop. It's just made me feel like that box has kind of made me deal with the things that are right at the top of my head, right, really kind of feeling there for me. And it actually feels really safe, because you're in a community, but it's just you and that piece of paper or that note, whatever you're typing. I've decided that I have to write, because otherwise I do it too quickly when I type. It's too unconscious. So writing for me is better, and I actually feel very safe in the community.
Yeah, you're getting some. Sophie and Karen are just saying thank you in the chat, Steve. Yeah, just reiterate that. Thanks for sharing your experience so honestly with us, because I think it's such a big part in both mental health and any kind of new practice like this. It's the fear of the unknown. It's like, where's this going to go? So thanks so much for sharing your experience. I just want to just touch on something Steve just mentioned around the confidentiality and the safety piece. I mean, I feel like it goes without saying, but I'm always struck by that, feeling actually it's really important to reiterate it every time. What's great about a journal is it's completely private, it's completely confidential. Obviously you could lose your journal or whatever, but it's a completely safe space, and I think that's what's so important when we're sharing things that can be new to us. They can be sort of private, feeling like you want to say something you've not said before. I think it's so important to have a bit of a safe space, and a journal really can be that. That's why I'm so behind it. It's like it's our own safe space that we can all create. I just saw a question in the chat as well from Brian. Hello, Brian. Do you find it useful to include what you're grateful for in your journal? Yeah, 100%. I love, again, it's what I love about journaling is just like a million different types of journaling. Like anyone here that's been in your gratitude, affirmations, intention setting, morning pages, like you name it. It's like a whole, I can't believe I'm using this word, smorgasbord of different journaling that is just available. And that's what's so brilliant about it. I know, again, like I mentioned, I started just completely free flow, just like stream of consciousness. And then I did get into gratitude journaling for quite a long time, actually, as a daily practice of writing 3 things I was grateful for in the morning. It's quite a popular tool in positive psychology to get you to focus on what you're grateful for, what's going well, on the positives, which is why we've brought in the celebration session on Fridays, because it's a focus on what's gone well in your week. What are you celebrating? What's the good stuff? So gratitude journaling is it's 100% an option. And I've done a lot of it. I'm sure other people have as well. Has anyone else got any other questions?
So I had a question for you, James.
Yeah. Hello.
It was kind of, I think what I found about the time in the mornings with the group, it was less about the journaling and more about the support, the sort of silent support and the strength in numbers of people who are at different points in their lives and struggling. And so I'm wondering if it'd be interesting to get your perspective on whether you feel the morning sessions are more about the gym, right? The mental health gym, where it's just time where you're going to get together and focus on yourself and with the silent support of others, or whether it's about journaling. And for me, I find it's both, right? You kind of, I'm doing my journal, then I'm just sitting there thinking, God, there's all these other people, right? And I'm not alone, and it's great. And I think that's where it'd be interesting to see what your perspective is and where this may go.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great question. It's interesting when I was kind of thinking like, oh, what's next for Sanctus? Like, what would we like to offer to the world? And I knew journaling had been so impactful for me, and it's a sort of product and a practice that I wanted to share with others. So you're looking around and doing a lot of research and looking what's out there. Journaling's available to all of us, by the way. Like, you don't need to do it with Sanctus. Seriously, like, you just don't. Anyone can start journaling, pick up a piece of paper and write. It's been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years probably. It's completely available. And there are also loads of journaling apps on the App Store, right? Like, honestly, download them, please. Like, there are loads of them. And I think for me, and this comes back to probably our belief about mental health, is, you can be journaling, you can be doing meditation, you can be doing all this self-care and loads of stuff for your mental health. But if you're doing it on your own and you're doing it in silence and in private, it can still feel like something that's shameful, something that's not normal. So I think the big thing that I'm so passionate about is the community, is this sense of we're doing it together. And that doesn't always mean we're always going to be on a Zoom call every time. But even if you look at our online journal, we have that option to share your entry publicly if you want to. Now, some people choose to do that quite regularly. Other people just go on passively and read other people's entries to just have that feeling of like, I'm not alone, like it's not just me. So it's a really good question, because it's really insightful, because it's exactly what we believe. It's like, yes, this is about the private practice of journaling, but it's also about that feeling that we're doing it together, and we're doing it in community, whether you actually do that with someone every time or not. It's a bit like Peloton. If you know Peloton, you can have a bike, you can have an exercise bike in your home. Anyone can. But what Peloton do so well is you're doing it with other people. Yeah, obviously that's a bit more competitive. This isn't competitive. It's not who's the best journaler or who's written the most. So yeah, it's similar to that. It's creating that sense of community around mental health, and us all feeling like we're not doing this alone. There's nothing weird about journaling. There's nothing weird about spending time on your mental health. If anything, we hope it becomes aspirational, it becomes positive and exciting. And playful as well. Like, it's not all obviously sometimes I'll write my journal, it's emotional, it's sad, it's difficult. There's other times where it's a bit of fun, end up doodling, drawing, writing poems, all sorts of stuff. So, and you can focus on the really good stuff in your life. So yeah, that's the truth. I think community is very important. Basically, long-winded way of saying that. Just reading a few of the chat. Is there anyone in the group that's maybe not an active journaler, or still sort of on the fence? Anything that anyone either wants to jump out and ask, not on mute or in the chat. I'm just conscious. Yeah, we've probably got people on the call that haven't done any journaling yet, maybe still a little reticent. I'm just wondering what question might make you feel either more comfortable to give it a try or get started, or what would you kick yourself if you didn't ask? I can't see if anyone's got their hand up.
I have a question for you, James, if I may.
Yeah. Hey, Brian.
Hi. I've read a lot about journaling and its benefits, as you say, for positive psychology. I've never really got round to doing it myself. I've been curious about it. What I noticed today is, first of all, thanks very much for sharing your story. I think it takes a lot of courage to talk in front of strangers like this about it. The image I get is someone now is quite confident, yourself, talking about this, you're able to open up. And I'm wondering to what extent the fact that you've been writing your thoughts down in a journal is helping you to articulate the way you feel and express yourself to, in this case, to us, but in other cases, perhaps to members of the family or to your friends.
100%. Honestly, I can't. I feel like I'll get sort of mixture of emotional and excited because it's dramatically changed my life. I honestly can't say it any other way. I mean, so there's that. There's finding the words, like, because for me, a lot of this life, our experience, it's just so hard to articulate. It's like it's trying to put words to something that feels impossible. So the process of trying to do that, I just find so rewarding. And just on a practical level, like if I've been writing about something that's just come up over and over again in my journal, it's a sign for me now to mention it to my girlfriend Sarah, or to call my mum, or to reach out. And so it's been such a brilliant bridge. I think the truth is, and this feels not difficult to say, but I'm like, should I say this? But there's definitely been times where I've lent on journaling as a bit of a crutch, like I've over journaled in a way. I've been writing round and round and round in circles, where actually having a conversation with someone would be more impactful. Yet journaling as a reflective process that's then raised my awareness and got me to that point has been really powerful. I mean, just as another benefit, I love writing. And before I started journaling, I don't think I knew that. I studied history and politics at uni. I had to write essays and all that at uni and fell out of love with it. And since journaling, it then kick-started me into writing more publicly. Now, 5 years later, I'm writing a book, which is just remarkable to me. And that's not a plug. I'm just on a personal level, to have started journaling and writing about how I'm feeling, to then unlock these different parts of me, these different passions, for me, which has ended up being writing, but for others could be different things. It's just been absolutely amazing to connect to a more creative part of myself. So it's radically changed my life, and I can't say it either way, both in terms of the intimacy and the quality of connection and relationships in my life. And also the newfound passions, to be honest, that I wouldn't have found. Now, this isn't all down to journaling, and I think in mental health it's very difficult to attribute anything because there's so much complexity. Yeah, as it's been a constant practice that I've been part of for 5 years, so I just qualitatively, I just know it's had a really big impact on me. And confidence is a really great word to use, because it certainly has given me what I'd say is like a real confidence, as opposed to more of a brash confidence that I might have had previously, especially in talking about stuff that, it can be really difficult to talk about, because it's helped me. Sorry, you've set me off, but it's helped me practice being vulnerable and and sharing stuff that's difficult to share. And it's that process that is where it does feel for me like building a muscle. It's like, okay, I say it once in my journal, no one's seen it. Okay, then maybe I say it to someone else in my life, and then I grow in that sense. So yeah, it's had a real impact on my confidence with my felt sense, basically. My felt, my feelings. Just looking at some other questions. Thanks for that one, Brian. That was a cracker. If anyone's got another question, either unmute yourself or put your hand up. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the chat at the same time. Yes, Halima, right, here we go. Sorry, Naz and Halima, I'm just seeing your practical questions. Is it just the 8:30 at the moment, or would it be an early session? Earlier session, oh my goodness. You're pushing me there, Naz. Possibly, yeah. How can you, so just practically in terms of accessing them, oh, Mike shared it, brilliant. That link that Mike has shared, which is the MailChimp link, if you want to access any of the sessions currently, sign up to that, and then right now it's not ideal, I'll come on to that in a second, and you'll get sent all the different Zoom links for all the different sessions. The next stage for us is we're going to work on just getting all the sessions on like a timetable on one site, so you can just log on, you can pick and choose what you're going to sign up to. At the moment, we're early stages, we're a bit nascent. Sign up to that mailing list, and then you'll get sent at the start of the week, you'll get a what's on this week, and then you'll get sent the different Zoom links for the sessions. At the moment, we've got daily sessions 8:30 till 9 every day. That's GMT, by the way, so British Standard Time. And then we've got the intention setting class on a Monday at 6 till 6:30, and Friday 4:30 till 5. The truth is, we're adding new sessions and new classes every week. And the truth is, it's a case of, if enough people want it, it happens. I think that's where we are, which is a beautiful stage to be in building a community. For example, the intention class was a suggestion from someone in the community who just said, "Oh, what about an intention setting class?" And I was like, "All right, let's go for it." So we're still early, we're still forming. We're co-creating. If you want the gratitude session on a midday and a Monday, let's go for it. Yeah, and obviously if you sign up to that newsletter, you can just email me directly, literally with your ideas, and I'll just respond. That's how fun it is at this stage. I'm just looking a few more. I was going to ask something similar and great to hear. How did you work on building the courage to be vulnerable in your journal? Richard, yeah, sorry, read that one again. How did you work on building the courage up to be vulnerable in your journal? I think the truth is there, Richard, I'll be honest, when I first started journaling, I hardly even knew what the word vulnerable meant. I was just writing. It was just instinct. So I wouldn't have even known it was vulnerability. I was just sharing. I think now I'm a bit more used to the practice. I certainly notice my process a bit more. So say I'm typing, I'll notice like, oh, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to write that. So and that's where I find journaling quite similar to meditation. If you've ever, or anyone's ever experienced meditation, where it's the process of noticing and observing your thoughts. And I think journaling is just the same. It can be a process of noticing and observing what you're writing down. So I notice myself if like, I don't want to write that, or I notice if I'm a bit embarrassed by what I've written, or I notice, I just kind of notice what's going on. So I wouldn't say I sort of actively said to myself like, oh, I'm going to be more vulnerable than usual today, or like I'm trying to be vulnerable. I think it kind of just happened as I built up a bit more confidence and a bit more trust in the process as well. Felt more confident in my journal, in using it in the ritual. So it kind of happened over time, really, quite organically. And I think that's part of the beauty of the process. It's because it's not outcome focused, and it's simply just a practice and a process. I find that the change kind of happens, and I slowly felt myself sharing stuff and writing stuff down, maybe past experiences or stuff that happened as a kid or whatever. I just felt a bit more comfortable writing it down and going there myself. because what might be vulnerable day one might be writing, I feel stressed. Day 100 of journaling might be writing about a childhood experience. Like I think it can just naturally build, or at least that's what happened to me. Yeah, Lisa, I can see you've got your hand up. Hello.
Hi. I was just wondering, I guess, what your opinion is, or your kind of thoughts about it. I guess, do you ever, or anyone who journals, feel like, or beat themselves up when they don't necessarily always journal? Kind of similar to exercise or a new regime, where you're like, I know it's good for me, but I'm so busy. It's been 5 months. What does that look like, and what's your relationship with it like?
Love that. What a great that is. I'm laughing because I know it so well. It was a real problem. That was a real problem for me with meditation. It became something I should do. It became another chore in my life. And I'll be honest, I find that working out. Put a journal in front of me and ask me to write about how I'm feeling for half an hour, and I'm straight there. But tell me to sign up to a HIIT class or something for half an hour, and I'm not quite as committed. I find again, and a true meditation teacher, I imagine, would say the same thing about meditation. They would say, well, notice that. They'd say, notice that thought, right? Which is a bit meta and a bit frustratingly abstract. But I find, like, I don't need it to be a daily practice. Like I said at the start to Kieran, if I'm feeling like I should do this more, or I'm not doing this enough, again, it's a bit meta, but I find that really interesting, and like something to notice and something to write down and be curious about what that might be about. Because there could be loads of different angles or different avenues that might mean that I'm feeling that way, that I feel like I should be doing more, or I'm not doing enough, or whatever that is. So I've certainly got there with loads of different self-care practices, to be honest, where I feel like they become a bit of a chore, which sort of seems beside the point, doesn't it? I find with journaling, because it's more expressive and I can write it down, I'm able to reflect on that more. So I'd start by saying, I'm noticing that I feel like I should be doing this more, and then go into that. And I can't say where that would lead because I've got no idea, but that's always the way in for me. I think the way in is, what's the experience now? Write that down and then go from there. And then for me, that's the process. And something always, there's either a revelation, or that's just the practice that I come back to.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh God, right. Oh my goodness, it's 6:31. Look, I don't want to. I think being strict with times is important. I'm going to answer this one last question from Halima. Does Sanctus do any discount codes for journals? No, we don't. I do. I'm desperate to design a Sanctus journal, to be honest, which I've just not got around to. I'm going to have to show you this, but I got this made the other day, which is a Sanctus paperweight. Just show you all that anyway. You might not be interested, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yes, no, we don't do discount on journals yet. I would love to get a Sanctus journal made. Maybe I shouldn't be yet. Hoodies as well. I know there's more. I might be silly for saying this, but honestly, I honestly think the best journals are ones that are completely empty, personally, because the structure, you can write the structure in it yourself. You can spend 25 quid on a gratitude journal, or you can just buy a plain journal and write what you're grateful for at the top, personally. However, the structured ones can also give you the sort of structure that you might not get. I'm conscious of time. Thanks everyone, this has been brilliant. I noticed I could probably keep Zoom open for another half an hour. Thanks for coming along, and thanks for being part of this. As I said to, I think it was Naz earlier, in response to one of the questions, this is really nascent. We're forming this. We're building the community together in response to what people need, what people are enjoying, what people want more of. So we can't do that alone, really. So it's kind of events like this and questions and suggestions that lead to us creating something brilliant that people really need. There's absolutely no expectation that anyone here comes along to journal with us in any of our sessions, if you do, that's absolutely brilliant. But if you take up journaling as a private practice and never use a Sanctus journal and never come along, I'd honestly be really delighted, because I think it's so brilliant. So thanks for coming along. If you've got any questions directly after this, or there's anything that you maybe didn't want to ask to the group, you should all have my email address, or sign up to the mailing link, and then when you do get an email from me, just drop me a response and ask me any questions. I'll follow up to the Eventbrite email list just with a few more links to what's next, and to where you can find out more, and then we can be in touch that way. And again, thanks for being here. Thanks for spending your Tuesday evenings with us. Thanks for your questions. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Love that. Yeah, thanks a lot. And we'll see you soon. I'm going to stay online so I can read a bit of the chat, but please feel free to bounce off. Cheers, everyone. Great to see you all, and hopefully see you soon. Happy journaling.